Jösses, but snip, snip, are you on a cut here?
Ja, but.
Got any tips?
2 hours later.
Okay, we're filming. So, my name is Nicholas. I've never actually filmed a YouTube video before. This is my first one. So, if you're watching this, you're a star. You've literally made my day. So I recently posted on Facebook and Instagram a post about me having lost a lot of weight in school. So I've lost 20 kgs since school, just having eaten in a serious calorie surplus. Just my experience of it, what I feel I've learned through trial and error, how to help other people, and yeah, I feel like I have some stuff to share and a way to help people. My goal is to be in a calorie deficit, so this is calories in versus calories out, and the ultimate goal is to burn more calories than you're putting in. And the first thing that everyone seems to think about when they think about losing weight and getting into shape is dieting.
Stop it. Get some help.
I mean, not dieting. Literally the opposite one is training. So most people seem to think that as soon as they step into the gym, like, oh no, now I'm going to start seeing real progress. I'm going to start seeing like real developments in my body. But the first thing you actually need to do is you definitely need to focus on your diet. Like, if your diet isn't on, you just cannot out-train a bad diet. There was a really nice video released by Steve Cook about trying to out-train a bad diet, where he ate 10,000 calories and then tried to burn off 10,000 calories, and he didn't do very well. And he's a serious athlete and he couldn't even do it. So it's just very difficult. It's really, really difficult. You really do have to start off with diet. And I want to do 3 key do's and 3 key don'ts about weight loss, and my 3 key tips, and then we'll see how we go from there. So the first thing I need you to do on our do list is make use of a TDEE calculator. Okay, and what that stands for is Total Daily Energy Expenditure Calculator. Right, so what we want to do is, depending on your age, your height, activity levels, gender, a whole whack of factors, depending on what calculator you use, it'll tell you how many calories you're burning on a typical day. I initially used one and it came out to be 3,100, I think. But now a more expensive route, one that I've been following for the last maybe 3-4 months, somewhere around there, is I invested in a Fitbit. So this thing tells me exactly how many steps I'm taking, a whole lot of extra stuff, but the main one that I really like to see, and that the one that really has value to me, the most value to me, is the calories. So it tells me how many calories I burn on a day, depending on your heart rate, your activity levels, and it's really cool because if you're just out playing golf with friends or doing something fun, just at the beach, running around, this thing will keep track. But that's the more expensive option. If you really want to invest in that, it comes highly recommended. This was a Fitbit. Apple Watch also has it, so just see what's in your price range and go for that. But a calculator works just fine, and then it'll tell you, okay, that's how many calories I'm burning on a typical day. And the number one goal is to be, like I said, in a calorie deficit, because that is the main objective with weight loss, is to be in a calorie deficit. So now you're saying, that's my base point, that's where I need to start, that's how many calories I'm burning. Say it comes out to be 3,100, that's what my one was. Let's go for something lower. So you just need to eat you need to eat less calories than that, but we'll get onto that now. I'll leave a link in the description of a good calculator, the one that I used when I first started. The thing you need to be doing is tracking your foods. Okay, so this is the one that everyone sort of like, oh, that's a bit hectic, like, do you really need to be tracking your foods? I promise you, you would be shocked. I used to think that I was doing such a good job. I used to think that I ate so well, I was flawless, I couldn't understand why I wasn't really losing weight. Yeah, sure, I went out and had like a couple drinks with the boys every now and then, and like had a couple benders, ate a pizza every now and then, no big deal. I should still be leaning out, and I just wasn't, and I couldn't understand why. And then just did load more research, and it suggested that people that track their foods do a lot better. And I thought tracking, that's a bit hectic. Like, do you really have to be weighing foods and tracking? And I don't know, but it really helps. It really helps. Even if you just do it for a day, like just try it for a day. You don't have to commit and be like, hey, I want to track foods and this is all I'm gonna do and I'm never gonna stop tracking. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to commit. Just be like, just try it for one day. It takes a little bit of getting used to, not a crazy amount. But it's a really nice habit to get into, and once it becomes part of your lifestyle, it honestly adds a very little marginal, tiny extra bit of effort, because you're so used to it. You just know exactly how to use whatever scale you choose to buy. You know what foods you typically eat. It doesn't matter what app you use. So I have my brother who's using MyFitnessPal right now, the more famous international other fitness YouTubers. They would always talk about MyFitnessPal typically. I'm currently on Fat Secret as a South African. There's more foods on Fat Secret that are South African foods, if that makes sense. South African, like Woolworths foods and stuff like that. So if you're overseas international based, then MyFitnessPal is probably a better one. But there's a few more. I don't know any more. Tried both MyFitnessPal and Fat Secret. I'm currently on Fat Secret, but if someone said, Nick, you better go on to MyFitnessPal tomorrow, I think I'd be able to switch pretty easily. So yeah, just pick one and stick with it and keep going and just experiment. Third one, this is indeed order of importance, is to train regularly. Train regularly has its own meaning for everyone. Someone might say I train once every 2 weeks and that's pretty regular. Someone else might say I train daily and that's fairly regular. I train daily at this point in my life. Damn! I just need it. I really enjoy it. De-stresses me. Yeah, I just enjoy being in the gym. I do honestly find it quite fun at this point, but I remember when I first started, particularly when I was heavier at school, I just thought it was the worst thing ever. I just remember my brother starting to train and like train regularly. My mother's very fit, my dad's an active guy, and they were like, oh, just come to the gym, it's be fun, here's a personal trainer, just get you kick-started. And I just hated it so much. Like, I just remember how difficult it was, how much I used to sweat, how unfit I was, how I just didn't last very long.
Okay. Okay.
It's not good. I can't say that on video. I better edit that one out. But yeah, I just didn't have good endurance. It was horrible feeling. And you just develop, and you just get into the habit of just training. Start lifting whatever you can lift. Doesn't matter who's looking at you, what anyone else is doing in the gym. Honestly, doesn't matter. All you have to do is start. But getting into a good habit of training not only will just boost your mood and just boost your performance, it will help you burn calories. And if your ultimate goal is to lose weight, you need to be burning calories. So on top of what the calculator that I mentioned earlier will take into account, if you're pretty active, you're going to be burning this amount. But if you just want like a base rate, there'll be a way to calculate that as well. And then if you have like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch or something like that, it'll tell you, okay, if you're exercising, you've burned this many more calories, and that'll help you be in a calorie deficit. So that's why training regularly is really important. It also helps you just tone up. So it just gives you a bit of tone. Arms, chest, legs, because everyone likes to train legs, because, tone legs are the thing. But yeah, it gives you that tone. But if the ultimate goal is just weight loss, you don't need to train. That's why I said order of importance. You'd rather focus on your diet, literally 100% diet. Training does really help, does help you tone out, does help you sit into a calorie deficit, but it's not more important than your diet. Your diet is, without a good diet, you're really on a hiding for nothing. Getting onto our don'ts. Okay, so these are the things that I've done. I'm guilty of it, way guilty of it. The reason why, a big part of why this video is being made, I feel, is to help or just kickstart people in terms of not doing what I did. Don't learn through your own mistakes, learn from others' mistakes, learn from what I've been doing wrong, and just start off in a better position. Okay, so the very first don't, do not live by the scale. Screw the scale. Seriously, it's just terrible. You'll stand on a thing, you're so demotivated, you'll be like, oh, I've been eating so clean for like 3 days. I bet you I've dropped like 7 kgs of body fat and you've dropped like none. Screw this game, it's done. Honestly, I hate that thing so much. Particularly if you are starting to train. So if you're the very first time you're getting into the gym, you got your diet sorted, you're tracking your foods, you're looking good, you're looking well, feeling strong. A common thing that happens is a concept called body recomposition, which is basically where you have your body fat dropping and you have your muscle mass increasing. So overall, with a loss in body fat and an increase in muscle mass, you're going to find the scale being pretty stable, sometimes even going a little bit up, maybe only going marginally down, pretty much the same. And that could happen for a period of 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it honestly depends. And that is the worst answer someone can give you, is it depends, but it does. A lot of it depends on genetics. So how quickly do you build muscle? How quickly do you drop body fat? But the basic of it is that you can be losing body fat, which is the goal. You want to be losing body fat, and you can be increasing muscle mass, and the scale's not going anywhere. And your goal isn't to drop weight. You don't want to drop weight. You want to drop body fat. So if the scale's saying one thing, saying you're doing a terrible job, when in actual fact you're looking in the mirror and you're saying, oh, I'm starting to notice this, or I'm starting to notice that, or I'm starting to look a bit leaner, that is the goal. So it doesn't matter what the scale says. The scale is a liar.
You lie! Yeah.
It's awful. Okay, so do not live by that thing. I used to live by a thing. It used to make or break my day, whether that number went up or down. And if I could go back and slap myself in the face, I would, and say, stop doing that. It's an awful habit to get into, so don't even start with it. Weigh yourself maybe once every week, just to get a proxy about where I am, how I'm feeling. Okay, I was 80 something kg, or I was 100 and whatever kgs. Trust me, I've been in the hundreds. I've been way over 100. So don't worry about what your weight is, but say, oh, I was at 104 last week, I'm at 102 2 weeks later. That's a kg weight loss. That's pretty quick, but I think I'll have to make another video about what I think is stable and not stable weight loss. But yeah, just weigh yourself maybe every once a week. I think that'll be a good idea. Maybe even once every 2 weeks. Just to get an idea and a proxy of where you are and where your body's at. The next one was trying to go too fast, too quick. Okay, so this is also really important, and another thing I'm guilty of, that a lot of people are guilty of. They think, okay, if this is my TDEE number, this is how many calories I'm burning. Say, for example, it's 3,500. I'm gonna consume 2,000 calories. 2,000 calories every day, and then I'm also gonna train, and then I'm also gonna do this, and I'm not gonna stop moving throughout my whole day until my Fitbit says I'm gonna burn 6,000 calories and all I'm gonna eat is an apple. It's just like, what is wrong with you? Don't do that. It's a terrible, 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 terrible idea, and I've done it. I've done it before. It's awful. Start in a marginal calorie deficit. Okay, so if your number is 3,100. Let's just keep using my number as an example. 3,100. That's what your number says. Start in a small deficit. Okay, so a 10%, 15% deficit is perfectly fine. And then as time progresses and your metabolism slows down and it becomes a bit harder to burn calories, or you just want to start making progress a bit quicker, or you're getting used to your tracking and you're getting used to training, and you think, oh, you know, I'm bruising this, let me try a bit more. You can, 100% you can, but start slowly. Okay, so start slowly in terms of your calorie deficit, and start slowly in terms of your training. For a week, while I'm getting used to tracking my foods, while I'm getting used to just being in the gym, training, getting used to this lifestyle, because at the end of the day, it needs to be a lifestyle change. Then we go 2,800. It wouldn't be too much of a struggle at that point for you, depending on whatever your number is, a 10% deficit. It will just mean eating clean, eating more vegetables, and I will release another video. I do really want to make another video about tracking and what tips and tricks that I've come up with tracking, what foods to eat, what foods I eat, what I thought really helped in terms of losing weight. I can't really do it justice in this video, otherwise everyone's going to be asleep by the end of it. But yeah, track your foods, please. Do start slowly. So go to gym once a week, and you can say, all right, well, how am I feeling? Am I feeling very strong? Let me start upping it to 2-3 times a week. And then eventually, yeah, just take it from there, improve, keep going, keep training. I back you. As soon as you start hating it, as soon as you start hating going to the gym, as soon as you associate going to the gym with a slap in the face and a fight with your partner, like your girlfriend, or associating it with like going to the dentist and getting cavities filled out, like, as soon as that's your mindset, like that's your mindset about gym, you're going too often. You're going too often. It's not for you. Stop. Slow down. Do not put pressure on yourself. Really take it slowly. Take it slowly in terms of tracking, slowly in terms of your deficits, slowly in terms of your training. You can always go more frequently, go more into a deficit at a later point. But just to start and to give yourself a break, go slowly, okay? And do not put pressure on yourself. The fact that you're watching this video, interested in terms of maybe weight loss and training and improving your body, that is a brilliant start in and of itself. If you're trying to get ready for a competition, or you're getting towards the end of your cut and you're thinking, well, I really want to just lose this extra bit of body fat, and you're experienced, I don't even consider myself experienced, I'm just sharing my experience of weight loss, and you feel like, no, I've got my tracking down, I've got my training down, let's go into a bit more of a deficit. Cool, please do that, just with caution and with sustainability, because if you're in a deficit that isn't sustainable, then I wouldn't even recommend starting it in the first place. Third and final don't for me is don't be impatient. Okay, so I was impatient. I think a lot of people are impatient. I have that type of personality that is just, I want it now. Like, I want to work now. If you tell me I need to work at 300% for the next 20 minutes, I'd rather work at 300% for the next 20 minutes than work at 50% for the next week, right? And at the end of the day, for weight loss, it's not gonna happen in the short term. You will lose some weight. You will lose some weight in the short term. Short-term gain, short-term increments of weight loss will make a long-term big difference, which is key, right? So you are going to make progress in the short term, which is great. That's what everyone wants. But you're not going to transform your body the way that you're probably hoping to in the short term. And that is a big thing, is that people get impatient and they give up. Do not give up. It sounds cliche but life has a very funny way of just getting in the way, right? So there's always going to be someone's 21st, or an office event where there's going to be cake served, or I'm going on holiday soon and there's this great pizza place there and I need to eat that pizza every day. Although no one needs to eat pizza every single day, but you know what I mean. Do not be impatient. Take your time and do not quit. You are looking for a long-term gain. You're looking to change your body in the long run. And patience is such a virtue. It's so cliche, I'm pulling them all out, but it's just so true. Super patient, honestly, always just be quite lenient with yourself. If you have a day or 2 days where you don't quit, because it's not a quit if you make a mistake and you slip up. Mistakes is very different to quitting. Quitting's to the side, mistakes to the side. If you just have a day where you're like, I'm just gonna eat pizza today, I can't do this anymore, and I wanna eat pizza. And it's a training day and you say, I don't want to go to the gym today. I'd rather just sit down and watch movies. That's fine. Okay, we're in this for the long run. Just sit down, acknowledge, say that's not what I need to be doing on the daily. I didn't make progress that day. Let's try again. And you just keep going. You stay patient and you keep going. Okay, genetics again plays a big part about where you store body fat. Whether you store it on your arms, your back, your legs, your lower belly. Don't even get me started on the lower belly body fat. So you might be losing a lot of weight at the back of your legs, but you're not seeing much of a difference around your back, your arms, your chest, your stomach, and that's where you want to see it at the end of the day. Probably, unless you're a leg model, in which case you're losing it in the right spot. Congratulations. If there's one piece of advice that I can give, just overall, on top of the do's, on top of the don'ts, is make it sustainable. Make it a lifestyle change. Make sure whatever lifestyle you choose to live for that 4 weeks is sustainable. It's something you can do for 3 months, 4 months if you needed to. Not saying you will, but saying if you need to. Because that just aids to you're not going to give up. You're going to stay consistent with it. You're going to feel strong. You're going to be in a good mental space while doing it. So even if it is just for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever your goal might be, make sure you can do it for a long period of time. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you're at this point of the video, you're still watching, thank you so much. Like, it means the world to me. Please comment below if there's anything else you'd like to know about me, training, fitness, losing weight, anything like that. I will leave a link in the description for a TDEE calculator and my Instagram. So please follow me on Instagram. That'd be really sick. I plan on posting more just about life tips, foods, stuff like that. Like and subscribe. This is my first video, so if you like and subscribe this thing, you're basically a legend, and I'll love you forever and we can be best friends if you wanna. But yeah, please do all of those good things. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next video, and please stay on the journey to better.